capture this. All right, so I want to capture this. So this is like the tutorial for the planner, and you do have it in front of you. You can follow along with me.
Yep.
So let's scroll down. So you'll see the first couple of pages are just getting you connected. So you'll see one of the very first things is your calendar at a glance. So you'll see your calendar for the year, your federal holidays. So you kind of know what some of your main days off are, if they apply, but for most people they are. So you'll see that first, and then you'll see a letter to the user. So I come in and I, again, introduce why this planner is important, why you need it, what that looks like. And then your immediate first task, you get to write a letter to your current selfie. So I want you to come here and kind of just write, dear me, like I'm about to get my whole life together for 2022. I want to improve my health. I want to do all the things, right? So you want to kind of maybe give a broad highlight over what it means to you into the new year and what that looks like. So just a quick space for you to do that. Let's keep going. The next portion here is a way for you to read some things from a past customer and what they think about the planner, but also I added this portion in here about saying yes to the opportunity. So for the past year and a half, I've been walking a different life that has, have brought changes in my life, how I think, how I feel, how I behave. And a lot of that has come from just saying yes to opportunities presented before me. So I want people to realize that that's how we can begin to change our life, by just saying yes to the opportunity. So as things are coming to you, think through, is this something I can step into that I can begin to change the trajectory of my life? I can be running towards my purpose. I can redefine myself, and I can realign towards the things that make sense for me. Now, several pages I'll tell you to tab out. So it's very important. And I know you did this last year, but this year as well, make sure you get your planner essentials. So your different tabs, you might have ones that have the months on them, or you might just have regular tabs and things like that, stickers, bookmarks, any of those types of things. Because here's one of the pages I want you to tab. 6 steps to keeping up with your goals. This is going to be very important. Getting support, right? So getting accountability and a team behind you that can say, like for instance, you're getting coaching, so I'm going to help you, and your sister will help you, and other people in your life can help you, bow and help you. So those are important for you to have in order for you to stay on top of your goals. Number 2, getting help. So we talked about additional goals for yourself. So is there anything practically, knowledgeably, or emotionally that you want to do in order to reach your goal? So think through that. Inspecting what you expect. So you got to follow up. You got to see if it's working. You got to stick with it. So I always tell people that page right across from this page, it takes 63 times before our brain will map new pathways of change, right? Dr. Carolyn Leaf, neuroscientist, says this. So you got to stay with your planner for at least 2 months. You got to stick with it. Otherwise, it'll become one of those planners that we all purchase and then we'll throw it on the shelf. We'll never look at it. So it is something that you keep with you day to day. You're using it every day. Next point over here, 6 steps. You're giving yourself incentives for when you reach your goals. So you do want to outline, what does that look like when I'm done? What does it look like when I've reached what I've worked so hard for? So make it meaningful. And then affirming and visualizing. So maybe creating a vision board or creating something where you can put up Post-its or things of that nature. It's always great. And then lastly, tracking your progress. So you've got to see how you're doing. That becomes very, very important. Okay, so let's keep going. If you forget everything that I've said today, there are 2 pages in here that talk to you about how to use the planner, or to how to use different things that you find in it. So this is here for you to be able to read through and kind of find what you're looking for, because it will all be in here. Keep going. Next page, you will see one of the types of things you'll see throughout. So to your left there, it says busyness is not productiveness. You will see that there are several pages that are inspirational, that will kind of jolt you into invigoration of saying, okay, hey, I can do this. I can stick with this. These are some good things for me to remember. So you'll find those throughout the planner journal. You'll also find in the beginning portion things like resources. So right here on the right hand side, I want you to tab this out. These are going to be resources around apps, authors, books, podcasts, anything that I've kind of done over the last year or so that I was like, okay, these are good for clients. These are good for people purchasing this planner.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have to use all of them? Absolutely not. Some of them are staples. I will always have some of those, some in that left-hand column that will always kind of stay there that are very good. But then I like to change it up. So you'll see that there's some new books in here that were not in here, new authors that were not in here last year. So tab this one out and remember, you can use this to build these into your growth plan, as we'll talk about here in a second. So more motivational pages for yourself. Talk less, do more. So we want to do more. So we're going to keep going. So one of the very first stops here in the first portion of your planner journal, which is basically comprised of a vision or goal planning portion of the planner. You're going to take some stock in where you are now. So on this page, you're going to rate your life. So 1 out of 2 stars, 2 out of 2 stars, you're going to shade them in here at this point. And then I want you to sit and think about these questions and give true answers that are going to help assess where you currently are, because that's important. And some of these questions are easy, and some of these questions will get progressively harder as you keep going. And it's meant to do that because it's meant to challenge you to truly say, where am I? What am I doing with my life? Physically, emotionally, mentally, so that I can actually go run on purpose, right? And do better on purpose. So where I am is a great page to start. And then to the right there, you'll see purpose aligned. You will see this 4 times. So this is a quarterly page. So I just want to highlight that for you. And it's going to walk you through some things, and mostly around habits and mostly around your actions and your behaviors, because your actions and your behaviors, according to John Maxwell, you want to take a look at how a person, thinks about their life and what they do. You take a look at their daily routine. You take a look at their habits. So this is about understanding bad habits, new habits, good habits, and then what's worth unpacking, things that you need to peel back the onion on, and things that you need to say, I need to address this, whether it's a relationship, whether it's financially, whether it's, with a loved one or something of that nature. And then what's worth keeping, good practices and good things that you've been doing. So this will appear 4 times, and you'll see this throughout. So as we keep going into our personal assessments, I included a miniature selfie exercise like me and your sister has done. I've done it with numerous businesses and groups and companies. And this is in here, just again, a creative, imaginative way for you to say, this is how I see myself, my actual self, my body, my hair, my clothes, my whatever. And you begin to fill that in, and I have questions there to help guide you. And then you'll also then look on, how do I want to look? How do I want to be in the future? What are some of the things that I'd like to change about myself? And so I want people to walk through that exercise on a very, again, high level, but something that they can dig into with me if they'd like to. Right across from that is going to be about your Enneagram. You know me, I think the Enneagram is very important. It helps you understand the box that you're in, and it gives you ways to get out of it. So the assessment is free. It's at the top, assessment.yourenneagramcoach.com. I know you've known yours, but I still want you to walk yourself through these things. And here's why it's important. It's not just for you to fill in the boxes and say, okay, yes, I know I'm a 6, and these are the things I know about myself. It's really important because it's going to help you understand your triggers and your gaps, because you want to get better. It also helps you to explain this to other people so you can get accountability, and so you can they can help you. So it's important that you fill this portion out as well. So we're into.
And I think.
Go ahead, honey.
I think we only did, I don't know how many sheets there were.
Yeah, we didn't finish because we didn't.
Yeah.
So that'll be something.
I think we only did like 3.
Okay. So that means you have 2 more.
Yeah.
Put that on here, write it down. We'll have to check in. We'll look at that at the end here.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we move into social connections. So here's your personal relationships in life. And to the left there, you're going to see several assessments that kind of look like this that are going to say, here's where I said some of the questions begin to get harder. How have I shown people I care about them? How do I value them? What conflict in my life needs to be addressed? Am I avoiding or ignoring anyone? Why? Who? So it's gonna be there for you to name names, for you to really dig into some hard places. And why? Because it's meant for you to understand your gaps. That's what all of these are for. Because I can't truly build goals for myself or goals for my life that are made up. I should be making goals based on the gaps in my life. And so for here, we attack the social connections. And then on the opposite page, I want you to get feedback from people you trust and know in your life to give you feedback on your blind spots. So you're going to ask some friends that you trust these 4 questions. So you'll send it to them, or you'll ask them, and you can write that in there. So I want you to get maybe, 2 to 3 friends, more than one, so that you can really truly understand some things about yourself that may be hidden. Okay. And these are new. So I added these this year.
I did.
So these ones are new. So not only do I need to deal with my personal relationships, with that comes the actual people in my life, and it includes boundaries. So here's a page on boundaries, and boundaries are for you. Boundaries are not up for other people. They're ways to keep you safe, not guarded, right? So we're not building fences, but we are placing lines in the sand that says, here's how far you can go with whatever it is that you want to decide to talk about. So in this case, I give you an area to talk about boundaries concerning yourself, boundaries concerning your family, and boundaries concerning the outside world, and anything else that may come to your mind. So the idea is that you write out your own expectations and boundaries. And then if you'd like other people to follow these, you have to gain an agreement, right? So you have to ask them to comply. But we don't push our boundaries and our expectations onto other people because they didn't sign up for that. They're yours. So that's also important to know. So right across from this, and this is adapted from a Henry Cloud book on relationships. And so we've talked a little bit about this before, but we need to know who are the people in our lives, whether from our core people who are very close to us, who speak life, who influence, who are direct and up close and personal. They hear your heart without judgment, all the way to the bottom or 4 circles out to the multitude, which is just everybody else. So you want to be able to identify who these people are. Here's why it's important. We find ourselves maybe excited about new things in our life or goals we may have. And so you'll go to someone and you'll say, oh my God, I'm so excited about, improving my life, and I want to go get this certification, and I want to go do this, and I want to go do that. And now a core member would say, oh, that's amazing. Like, tell me more about it. Like, what does that look like? Et cetera, et cetera. But if you happen to tell that information to a multitude or community member, their response may be, well, why would you do that? Are you going to have time for that? Well, who's going to pay for it? And how are you going to do it? And how are you going to get there? So you might have asked someone outside of the right circle for feedback that you didn't want and you didn't like. So these circles then become very important. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, 1 second. Let me clear my nasal passages.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. Sinuses have been crazy.
Yeah, I think everyone has colds.
All right. So now we're going to keep on going. You see more inspirational pages for yourself. If any of these resonate with you, again, put them, write them on post-it notes or things like that. So let's just let it be something in the book for you. Here's something new I've added, which is the ability for you to assess your strengths or weaknesses, your opportunities and threats to your life. Now, I do have on the very first pages, I have questions for you to answer, for you to walk yourself through this. Now, I do have people like leaders and educators and entrepreneurs who purchase this planner. So you will see things in there that reference like a business. Don't worry about that. Just answer it in regards to your own life or your own things that you have going on in your life. Does that make sense? Okay. And then strengths and weaknesses we'll focus on the next 2 pages on boosting your strengths, because you want to use your strengths or the things you're good at in order to help build your life. So we want to come through some ways on identifying what does that look like based on this SWOT, and then how do we boost them up, okay? And then lastly, how do we overcome our weaknesses? So it's not enough to just identify that, hey, I'm bad at this or I'm not very good at this. It's how do we make them better? And so you'll see there's 5 bullets here. I do list ways for you to, or strategies for you to help overcome those weaknesses. So those are there for you. So I do give you a jump start on the process. So don't feel like you have to come up with all the answers. You may end up actually coming up with some more things on your own, but I have 5 things for you to think about there. Okay. So next page is kind of streaming from your SWOT, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We again are always talking about what are my strengths and how do I lead myself well. So this is kind of a continuation of that, where you can go visit high5test.com. And it's kind of similar to Strengths Finder if you've ever done that in the workplace. Again, I have a lot of leaders, educators, business entrepreneurs that buy this. So they'll see like Strengths Finders are ways for you to identify how you do 5 things well, or the top 5 things well. And you'll want to identify that and put those in the boxes, which again, it's free. It'll send it to you in an email. It'll actually even show you on the screen once you're done. And then you'll take that to the right-hand side and say, okay, how can I build on these characteristics? Because I want to focus on the legacy I want to leave behind. And I can't focus on what I want to leave behind if I'm not leading myself well. So it's forcing you or challenging you to really truly look at, how do I want to lead myself this year? Is there some leadership qualities or traits that other people have that I admire or that I look up to that I can put on here? Ways that I can begin to change my own life and mirror what I see, and not mirror as in copy, but mirror as in that's a good trait to have. Let me actually do some growth work or inner work in order to get there. Okay. And so once I'm done leading myself well, I'm looking at what that looks like. I want to still make sure I focus on myself. And so this one will be, a couple of pages will be very important for you. So this is a new resource I put in here, so you can tab this out. We want to focus on a positive mind, a positive vibes, positive life. And we do that through our self-care and our self-improvement. So here are 30 new ways for you to do self-care. So things that you can try, things that you can do in order to focus on yourself and build yourself up emotionally, mentally, and physically. Okay. So make sure you definitely tab this out. This is really great. People have loved this page so far, this new page that it's in here. And it directly correlates with the next pages, which is, here's your next assessment on your self-care regimen. So how do you manage your emotional health, mental health, physical health? Are you resting? Are you caring for yourself? What does that look like? And an opposite page of that is, I want you to begin to call out those strategies. Like, this is how I'm going to practically show my self-care in the coming year. And you can use the list here on the previous page to pick some strategies, or you can pick your own strategies. It's up to you. But here's the idea, and here's why I said at the top of the hour, this is why this planner will help you in some of the things you called out, right? Because you talked about your health. this will force you to look into what does that look like and give you ideas on where to tackle it. So I'm super excited that's in here. And here's also 2 new pages that I've added: fitness goals and weight tracker. Now I've gotten I've gotten yelled at for my weight tracker. They're like, why? I was enjoying your planner until you put that in there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, it's in here because
No, I like it because I used to have to go back pages and pages to be like, okay, what was my last weight?
Yes, so tab it out. So put the tabs in here for all of the things you want to be able to easily go to, just like in a book. So you'll put your tabs in here and you can go directly to it. So I also put in here for your BMI, for your measurements, things of that nature. It even asks you, why do you want this? What's your motivation? Mm-hmm. What milestones do you want to have? So, it's all in here. I love it. I'm super pleased with this new planner, and because it is very comprehensive, and it really covers our full wellness, right? Because that's what it's about: our physical, our mental, and our emotional health. And then even your next thing you mentioned, so my spiritual discipline, right? This is important. What has God been sharing with you? What does he teach you? Where are you having, are you stalling? Are you having growth? What does that look like? So it's asking you the hard questions so that you can identify the gaps. And that's the point of why this is in here. And I love this one here, and this will be true for you to the right-hand side there. Give yourself permission to put off insignificant things. Take your Sabbath rest. It's going to be so important because we can't run our bodies to the ground. Yeah. Because if we do, we can't be surprised that it doesn't work. Right. And it doesn't do for us what we need it to do. So we have to make sure we're getting our rest. The next assessment is the time and the treasures as well. So where do you see the chaos or disorder in your schedule? Where do you spend your money? Where do you have false control even in your life? Because that's going to be very important too, to identify. So this is another great one here for you to kind of see, where am I struggling? Okay. And so here's the last couple assessments before you get into your goal planning. So you kind of so if you follow the journey, walk yourself through your personal health, your physical health. Now we're going to get into your mental health. And as we walk through all 3 of those things, then I can properly build goals. Okay. So the resource here, this is a new one, also tab it, is what are some of your unhelpful thinking styles? So for me, I know I struggle with all or nothing. Everything can't be all or nothing, but I struggle with that because that's what I do a lot of the times, that I have this absolute thinking. I also catastrophize, right? I exaggerate a situation into the negative. And even if that's not what's actually happening. I know a lot of people jump to conclusions, or people who have this mental filter where they only focus on one aspect of a situation, right? Usually negative sentiment override, and they usually ignore everything else that's happening. So I want you to kind of walk yourself through some of these unhelpful thinking styles and see, am I doing these? Do I find myself doing these types of things in my life? And it's all unconscious too, by the way. So you got to notice that sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it. Yeah. Okay. And then the page opposite, which is new. Now I want you to start to build out your resilience or your mindset strategy. So these are the strategies that are going to say, this is how I will do better in the future. So I begin to speak life into myself and say, well, I am capable of processing my thoughts and my emotions healthily. I can be grateful and thankful for the life that I have and not focus on the past. In order for me to fulfill my goals, I must stick with my plan. In order for me to lose the weight, I must do, etc. In order for me to do whatever that looks like, you fill in the blank. I choose joy. I choose peace. I choose patience. I'm letting go of the past. I'm letting go of unhealthy behaviors. I need friends. I need relationships. I will not continue to live the life that I've been living. I can achieve my goals with God. I can achieve what I need to do with my plan. So walk yourself through those strategies and some of those examples I just gave to begin to build your mental muscle, because that's where a lot of us lack and how we fall off of our plans and we fall off of where we are in life is because we don't have a strong mental muscle. And that's what the resilience piece will do. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so as we keep going, I put this reminder here on purpose. Your inner critic does not get to narrate your life story. So we've got to stop letting our poor self-talk cause us to live a mundane or ineffective life. So the opposite page talks about how to be more proactive and flip your thinking into more thinking that will lead you to life. So instead of saying, I want to accomplish my goals, I can say I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Instead of saying this is too hard, I give up, I can say that I can press towards the mark and do the things and have Christ help me work through these hard things in my life, and I can cast my cares on him instead of saying it's too late to finish. I can say that he's faithful to complete the work in me, that I am capable, right? So you want to begin to flip the thinking of what you're going to start to say to yourself when these things begin to creep in, because they will creep in, right? They've already creeped in. That's why we're talking. So this is why this becomes very, very important. And so as we finish the last assessment before we hop into goal planning, I want you to say and know these things for yourself, that you are confident, you are grateful, you are at peace, you are moving in the right direction. And the last piece, after you've gone through your physical, mental, emotional health, I want you to ponder and figure out and choose, rather, not figure out, but choose a word that you know will help lead you in the future. So not necessarily just the word of the year. This one looks a little bit different. I've changed it up. So in the very top cloud, you're going to put the word of the year for yourself. So for instance, you might put resilience. Resilience might be your word. So in the other boxes or the other clouds, you're going to put stick with it, keep at it, keep running, move forward, right? You're going to put in other synonyms or other words or phrases that help reiterate what resilience means to you if you chose that word, or if you chose, something else. I want you to look that word up. Go look up the definition. Go see what else it means, and write in what those other words are in the clouds so that you can reiterate to yourself, here's what I'm going to do in order to help lead myself into the year. And so this is the very last part, is setting your goals for yourself. So you've done the speak it, you've done the think it, you've done that portion of really working it through. So now I can choose real goals for myself. And so on page 55, as you keep going, I want you to rate your life. Well, here on the wheel of life. So from the inside out, you're going to shade, right? With your pen. There's 6 spaces. So 1 out of 6, 2 out of 6 of how you feel like your health is going. Same thing for your career, growth, leisure, etc. So you'll take yourself around the wheel and you begin to say, oh, I'm a 2 out of 6 for my health. I'm a 3 out of 6. So I'm halfway there, whatever that looks like.
And that will be currently what you feel.
And that will be currently how you feel about exactly.
Okay.
And you're going to do it from the inside out. So you work yourself from the inside of the circle and shade it out to where you feel like you are. And so and this kind of works in layers. So that's kind of like the first piece is you're like, I think I'm probably at maybe a 2 or a 3 for my finances. So I'm going to use this one as an example all the way through. And so now as I move over to the right-hand side to my vision board, I want to brainstorm potential go-gets for the year. So if I feel like I'm only a 3 or a 2 for my finances, well, what over here under my finances do I want to do? Well, let's see. I want to save $3,000. I want to reduce my debt by $5,000. I want to increase my credit score by 100 points, right? Yep. So you want to just start to brainstorm. What are some of the go-gets? Like, I want to have financial health. I want to be financially healthy. So you may not even have those pieces kind of like as I just said, but you might just make a point and say, well, I want to be financially stable. That might be one of your go gets for the year. And so you're going to do that for each one of your topics, as you can see there in your boxes. So once you're done kind of brainstorming, you're going to see, and I'm not going to go through all of them, I'm just going to stick with this one here.
Break it down more.
It breaks it down. Yes. And so this is new because I was like, people are like, I didn't know how to break it down properly. So now I'm showing them how to break it down. So we're going to start to the left, SMART goals. So what main goal do I want to accomplish with my finances? So I can say I want to be financially stable. And that's what I'm going to write up here in this top box. And then you're going to walk yourself through the SMART acronym. So why do I want this to happen? Well, I want this to happen so that I can have more financial freedom and I can do more things. Okay, well, how will I know when I've achieved my goal? Well, my bank account will have more money in it in my savings. My credit score will be up, all those type of things. This is how I know. And then, is it realistic for myself to accomplish? Well, I think it's realistic for me to be financially stable, but I might need some help, right? You might write that. And then, why is this goal important to me? And so somebody could write, well, I want to purchase a home in 2023, right? That might be their reason for wanting to get financially healthy. And then lastly, when is my deadline? So I might set a deadline for myself and say, by November the 15th, I want to have all of those things accomplished, or I want to be financially healthy by then. So as you let me go back a step. So as I've rated myself, I've brain dumped and got some potential go-gets. My next step, I went through and walked through my questions on why it was important to me, why do I care about it? And then now I'm able to actually put a plan together for myself. So in this portion over here under finance goal, I'm going to say, be financially healthy. Okay, well, what does that look like? So if you notice too, this is broke down into 5, 3, 1. Remember the prioritization helps you narrow it down. So I want to be financially healthy. Target 1, increase my credit score by 100 points. Target 2, reduce my debt by 5,000. Target 3, increase my savings by 3,000. Now I made all those up, but let's keep going. So target 1 was increase my credit score by 100 points. Action steps. So my first action step might be for me to get a credit counselor. Okay. My next step might be for me to cut up all my credit cards. A next step for me might be to pay off my highest credit card first and then work my way down, right? So you see how I put all my different steps on there, and you're going to basically work yourself down that for each one of those. So that next one was savings. So you might say action step, move my portion of my direct deposit over to my savings. Turn off the ability to get any money out of my savings, right? So you might, whatever that looks like. So you'll build that for each one of your goals. So for health, for career, for personal growth, personal leisure, your love life, or in this case, you're married, and your spirituality, and then personal relationships. Okay?
Yep.
So you'll work yourself down through for each one of those. And so now we're ready to start. So you've walked yourself through, and this is why I said you and your sister can probably spend a day or two working through that. You know, kind of like a vision retreat, a time for you guys just to kind of be away, be open, and then you start your year. So what you plan on doing, you literally take it right from what you just did. So your vision board, you're going to pull over. So for finances, you'll say the very first action step was getting a credit counselor and moving over your direct deposit into savings. Your health, your first step might be get a health coach. Relationships, your first step might be schedule something with your spouse. Leisure, you might say book a trip. Career, you might say sign up for certification. Spirituality, you might say choose a new devotional to do. And for growth, you might say work on statistics for my certification class. And so as you're planning out from your vision on those particular areas, you're then going to list those out for the quarter, because we're only going to work on some stuff by the quarter. We want bite-sized pieces. And so you'll say in January, I'm going to do my credit counselor, my coach. In February, I'm going to get my direct deposit and all my stuff done, because you want to maybe wait till all the stuff in your job is done for the fiscal year, et cetera, et cetera. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically take all of that and work that into your first quarter. And so you'll see this quarterly. You'll see one for quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's it. You only see it 4 times a year. You won't see it again. Both of these pages.
Okay.
You'll also, let's keep going, only see your intentional habits. This is a new template. You'll only see it quarterly. And this is about your non-negotiables. So in the morning, midday, evening, what are the habits you need to be doing in order for you to fulfill your goals and do what you need to do? So you'll also identify what you want to accomplish, feel, attract, and what you will look forward to. I have now reduced down the monthly from 2 pages to 1. So now it's at a glance. So it's on 1 page for you now. You can map out your top priorities, events, highlights, celebrations, fun, travel. So all of that is now on 1 page for you. And then your weekly prep is now only on the 2 pages as well. So you're going to do, this is similar to the ones, some of the headers I had from before. Some of them are a little bit different. And then now I have a 5-3-1 planning prep sheet for you too, so that you can begin to delineate not only what you got to do for your personal family and everything else, you also begin to identify what do you need to do for the world and outside of your family. Okay. And it walks you through that.
Okay.
Now your day is now on 1 page. It's not on several pages anymore. There is no midday pause anymore, because everything is now pretty effective now on 1 page. So it's a book view. So I did put everything across from each other, so you don't have to flip pages anymore. Praise the Lord.
Yeah, right.
So I have everything now here on 1 page. You can fill in your times as normal, but you should be pulling from your prep. So whatever you prepped here needs to pull over to your schedule here, and you write that in. I've now included the weeks. So you'll see week 1, week 2, week 3, all the way to week 52. So that is now here for people, because I know a lot of people wanted to know what weeks they were in. So this is here for you. And now I also have daily trackers here. So your devotional. So again, that's important to you. You'll know whether or not you did it, because you're going to check your box or exit. You want to know about your exercise, so you can check your box or exit, your water, your journaling, your meal prepping, your self-awareness check. Are you checking in with yourself? And I even have your emotions check over here. You know, how did you feel throughout the week? I want you to circle or check all of the ways that you felt that whole week. So, and then you can even put reasons why here in your mindfulness zone. So this is kind of like your midweek pause. I combined it all in 1 page. So that way it makes you very effective. You only have to look at the 1 pages now. And then a list of any just do it's or tasks that you need extra room for. Because I also noticed people needed that. So I added that portion. So what do you think? So that's the last part is I'm going to show you is the quarter, but what do you think so far? You like the new layout and the new design?
I do, yeah.
Yay.
I do like it.
So that will repeat. And so the only difference here I want to point out is that you will get a monthly review, but this now does not appear after every month. It only appears after the first 2 months of each quarter, because I'm not going to make you do a monthly review and a quarterly review, right? So at the end of March, I'm not going to make you do another monthly review. Instead, you'll just go straight into the quarterly review. So you will see monthly review, which is very, I redesigned it as well. What went well, and this is what you were saying about the self-awareness journal.
Yeah.
So this is only in here at the end of the month. It's not in there every day, which is kind of, that's the self-awareness one, is the every day. But I get what you were saying. I got what you're saying. So last part, let me hop all the way to the quarter. And so an easy way for you to see the quarter that I didn't realize from the printer is if you look at the very top of your planner, you will see your gray. You will see that there is 3 gray lines. Do you see it? Or they look black? I can't tell. I can't. Can you tell at the top of your planner? If you close your book and look at the top of it, you see the 3 gray lines.
No.
Let me pull your video back up. So look, you see the top of the planner, and there's three.
Oh, like that. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So there's 3 gray lines.
Yes.
Okay, that kind of helps you know where your quarters are, the end of the quarter.
Good. Okay.
That's pretty cool. I didn't even realize that happened.
I was looking at the top here. I was like,
oh, no, the top of the pages. So if you want to hop to your end of the quarter, so you'll see week 13, March going into March and into April, and then you'll see your first quarter assessment. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So these are new. So I added this in here. 4 square, I must know where I am. So it's going to ask you 4 questions. Are you seeing the results you want? Is there an issue with the execution? Are there holes in your strategy? And do your daily tasks align with your goals? So this is really like a gut check for you that says, I'm not going to wait till I talk to coach. I'm not going to wait till the end of the year. I'm going to know how I'm doing every single quarter. So this is in here to ask those great questions, and then takes you through your continued check-in on what do I think needs to happen to accomplish my goals? What should I be telling myself? What are my goal gets and what are my steps? And then it will take you through, similar from last year, some of the questions, but some I've changed. Like, what do you need more of? What do you need less of? Right?
Mm-hmm.
How do I realign myself? This one is similar to last year because this one was really good that people did. And then I put a note here now. Focus on what matters now. Tomorrow isn't promised. So get your mindset on being very mindful and in the present time. And then it repeats. So now we're back at quarter 2. So you got your vision board again. So you're going to go, that's why I said tab it out. Go to your vision board from what you worked on at the beginning of the year. Pull another goal. Your next goal might be, so first quarter, I worked on savings. Next quarter, I might say, now let's work on my credit score, right? So you pick it. You don't try to do everything at once. You try to pick one thing and kind of work on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
And then you'll get your purpose realignment. Like I told you, that will show up 4 times a year. And you go right into your next month. So that's the planner. So the very last part, I'll hop to the end of the book. Let me put in some pages here. 348, I think, or something like that. So no, let me go back up. So at the very end, week 52, that's your very last one. You will get a monthly review after December, only because you're not doing any more quarterly assessments.
Mm-hmm.
And you will then get into your year on purpose. So now you want to sum up your year. You know, what did you love most? What did you regret? What struggles did you have? You know, what losses occurred? Because we do have losses. You know, people get sick, people die, things happen. So we want to capture that. And we want to process it. So everything isn't about, you know, not thinking about it. Like, we need to think about stuff. We've got to process things. So your year on purpose is in there. 2 different questions, 2 different formats. One here, one here. And then lastly, because I wrote a letter to my current selfie, I need to write a letter to my future selfie and say, hey, how did it go? Like,
yeah.
Even compare it. Go to your at the beginning and say, you know, what does it look like a year later? And we got to remember, we are all but a vapor, so we have to live well. So that's the entire planner. There are note pages now. I put those in the back.
Okay.
You do have note pages for extra stuff. And even a weekend fun tracker. I've already had one client change weekend fun to books. She likes to read books and she wanted to track her books. So she put her books in here. So yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, but whatever you want to use it for. I'm still trying to work on how to incorporate it. And I couldn't really think of it. So I was like, I'll leave it back here because people said they still liked it, but
yeah,
it's there. So that's the planner, dude.